And we're on! And today's guest, we've got Tom Urie, actor, musician, man of many talents. Tom's appeared on hit films Trainspotting.
Two.
Trainspotting 2. Also been a major part in River City.
Aye.
Still Game, and Still Game is Martin. The Snowballs.
Aye.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
You're alright, mate.
And first of all, I just want to say you're looking absolutely amazing.
Thanks. I'm looking bouffing, James, and I'll tell you for why. Because I'm growing a beard. Because I'm playing an ancient Greek in a couple of weeks in a thing, and I don't think the ancient Greeks had Mach 3s, so I'm having to rough up a wee bit, so I do look like Jakey.
No, I think you're looking brilliant because you've lost now 20 stones.
No, I love how you're rounding that up.
20 stones,
I love
people.
how you're rounding that up. 19-ish. 19, a wee bit over 19, but 20's fine for me if you want to bump it up.
Mate, that is unbelievable.
Aye.
Unbelievable, so massive respect, and I think you're looking fantastic.
Thanks, mate.
Because I told everybody that you were coming on, you had so much love, man, from...
So much love,
You
Jay.
did, so much love. I was getting jealous.
Are you?
Aye.
Ah, man, all the grannies love me.
They can love me as well, I don't care.
Aye.
So, we're going to just talk about your life, or how the acting. So, where did the acting start?
Do you know, I didn't really start acting until I was in my early 30s, really. And it was... I had done a bit of acting before, but my friend Karen Dunbar went for an open audition with the comedy unit because they were making Rapsy Nesbitt and all that kind of stuff. And they were having open auditions, and she went dressed as a cleaner and went into the audition and started cleaning their desk and making them lift their feet and everything. They loved her immediately because she's brilliant. And she got into Chewing the Fat because Chewing the Fat was originally a radio series, so they needed a woman to along with Ford and Greg. So she went into that, did a few radio shows, and then it got commissioned for the telly. And after a couple of series of Chewing the Fat, it really took off. And, you know, you're walking down the street and everybody was shouting, going to no do that at them. It was like Beatlemania for them for a wee while. So they wanted to do a live show. And they did a live version of Chewing the Fat at the Citizens Theatre first of all, and then it went to the Kings. And they wanted a panto ending, you know, bring down the clue, the song sheet. And the Jack and Victor characters used to sing songs like Her Majesty's Home for the Blind and all that kind of stuff. So they wanted to do that, so they needed somebody to play piano. So Karen Dunbar said, my pal Tom plays the piano and he's a good laugh, why don't you get him in? So I went in, and they did this big sketch at the end where Jack and Victor are going into the pub for a sing-song, and there's an old lady playing the piano. They put me in a frock and a wig, so I think I was probably the first ever incarnation of Isa. So I was sitting playing the piano, and so in that show they got me in to do a couple of other lines and bits and bobs through that live show, and then after that for series 3 and 4 of Chewing the Fat, they got me in on the TV show as well, just if they needed an extra guy for any sketches. So I was in Ronald Villiers sketches, the one with the Quick Fit advert one. That was the first thing I ever filmed, where Ronald Villiers has got a part in a Quick Fit advert, and he can't say it's Nifty Fit, and he can't say it, he says Fintitin. And so that was my first thing, but they got me involved. So through that, I got involved with the comedy unit that made the programme. So I ended up doing Only an Excuse with Jonathan Watson, and then I did a radio show with him, and then the comedy unit became my agent. So they were putting me up for parts and other stuff. So that's how I get involved, through my pal saying, my pal can do that.
For playing the piano?
Aye.
And that's how because you've had a good career. You've had a great career.
Aye,
all the stuff you've been on is all the biggest stuff that's on Scottish telly.
I've crashed everything.
That's the best way. I've done it for years.
They don't even ask me, I just turn up and say, can I be in this? And they go, aye, we'll shut you up.
How has it been on Trainspotting?
That was amazing. That was really, really amazing.
You and McGregor?
Aye. It was filmed in the Orb in Bells Hill on the hottest day of the year. And they had to put big black sheets over the windows to make it look like night time. So the place was boiling hot. There was 200 extras there, and it was like a sauna. So they had to hire in these industrial air conditioning units, and it was 2 days of just sweltering heat. But what a laugh! What an absolute laugh! Danny Boyle, that directs it, is such a nice guy.
Is he?
By the end of the 2 days, he knew everybody's name. There was 200 folk there, just knew everybody's name. really nice, really good fun. And I mean, have you seen Trainspotting 2? Have you seen, you know the scene I'm talking about? It's hysterically funny, right? And I don't know anything about Catholics and Protestants and football and all that. I'm thick about it. I don't understand. I was never brought up in a religious house. We were neither Catholics nor Protestants. I don't get it. I don't understand, right? So I got the part of this bouncer in an Orange Lodge, really, right? So they gave me all these temporary tattoos, but they were movie temporary tattoos. So they took 2 hours to go on and 2 hours to take off. So I had 1690 in my neck there. And people had to explain to me what that meant, right? Because I'm not the brightest. And I had the red hand of Ulster somewhere, and I had King Billy somewhere, right? And right, so I went, all right, these look nice, you know, no idea what they were. And there were a few people at the filming who were from that background, and they were like, I like your tattoos. Where'd you get that big man? Right. And I'm like, I'm just a stupid actor. I don't know. So it got to the end of the first day, and I had developed a really bad cough during that day, maybe because it was so hot. But they said to me, you're not called till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Can you do us a favour and just go to the doctors and get checked out, just for our insurance? Just go and get checked out in case it's an infection or something. So I phoned my doctors, and they said, yeah, come in at 9, we'll see you. And I forgot that I still had the tattoos on. I forgot I still had these temporary tattoos, because it was going to take 2 hours to take them off and put them back on again. So sitting in the doctor's waiting room, and everybody was looking at me, staring at me, and I'm like that. And I went into my doctor, my GPs, and I've known her for 20 years, and she just looked at me like, what have you done?
Change your life.
What are you talking about? And she went, why have you got 1690? And you're like, oh,
you have it in your neck and that as well.
Right there. See, if you look at Trainspotting 2 and Freeze Frame, that's where, and there was one in the back of my neck. And I was just like, a numpty.
How was it? Was it good then? Did you go to the red carpet?
No,
bastards.
No, I didn't. But I did go to they had 2 premieres, so they had, it was so secretive, right, that nobody knew if they were still in the final cut. So we knew that he'd filmed loads of extra stuff that wasn't going to make it, that would maybe be in the DVD special features, and that had happened to me before. I had a role in Legend, the Tom Hardy film, and it was cut before the film went out, so I was like, I'm never going to get excited about being in something again in case
they cut it.
In case they cut it. So with Trainspotting 2, I was like, I don't know if I'm even going to be in this. You know, I might just be, you know. So I got the invite through to go to the premiere, but it wasn't the big posh premiere London. In the morning in Edinburgh. It was called the Cast and Crew premiere in Glasgow at tea time on the Sunday. So I knew that all the media and everything were going to the morning premiere in Edinburgh, so I thought, well, if I'm in it, I'll soon find out, because we'd had to sign a thing to say that we wouldn't talk about being in the film, so nobody knew I was in it. Not a soul knew I was in it. I think a couple of my mates had told, but nobody else, and obviously my doctor, the tattoos. So round about 1 o'clock on the Sunday afternoon, my phone started going, and it was people at Bev. Do you know what I mean? And it was
shout out to Bev.
How did you get a Bev? How did you not tell us you were in? And I'm like that. So I went, right, I'm in it. So I met up with an actor called Atta Jakob, who's a pal of mine, and Simon Weir, who are both in the movie as well, to go to the tea time premiere in Glasgow. And the three of us, none of us knew what we'd done in it. We said, right, let's not tell each other what we've done in this film, and it'll be a surprise. Simon Weir's up first, and he's bollock naked, getting spanked. Bobby, they were sitting in roaring, howling in the cinema, and then Atta gets punched in the face by Begbie, and then the scene, the 1690 scene came up, and I just sat going, oh my god, right? And I watched it, and I went, either I'm going to get pelters for this, or people are going to love it. And thankfully, folk loved it, you know. And then, because I do a lot of piano bar gigs and stuff, and some places are quite kind of, you know, yes,
toffee, arty-farty.
And occasionally you get somebody coming up going, can you sing the song from Trainspotting 2? And I'm like, no, I can't.
That's a legendary film with Ben, especially working with Danny Boyle. What about River City? So how long were you in River City? I was in River City for about 5 years. It was about 5 years. The last year I didn't do much in it, because I wasn't well, you know.
So I was in it for about 5 years, and that was an absolute joy from start to finish.
Because I had a lot of messages yesterday of people wanting you back, missing you.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Oh, well, you never know.
Is there a still opening for you to go back?
Yeah, absolutely. Good. But I mean, it's the thing about it is you can't just turn up at their door and say, I'm back. You need to wait to be asked, I suppose. They know where I am. They do their storylines a year in advance. So if they were planning on bringing Big Bob back, they couldn't just phone me up and go, going to come in next week. They'd need to factor it into the future. So they might do. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
A year in advance, is that right?
Something like that. They don't write the scripts a year in advance, but they plan where the show's going.
Right, for a year in advance.
Because they film a few months in advance.
I know they did. Was that EastEnders and that Coronation Street all the same?
All the same. They film a few months in advance. So if they were thinking about bringing Big Bob back, they'd have to kind of plan. And I think...
When about Big Bob now?
I know. Well, maybe about a year ago they maybe didn't know if I was going to do it or not. So you can't plan that and then suddenly I put 20 Stone back on again, which will not happen now. But nobody really knew I was going to do this. So I would love to go back because it's a great job and it's a great show. I still watch it. I'm still a fan. I'm still phoning my pals that I was in it going, Liz is dead. Oh my God. Are
you still pals with everybody that was on it then? It seems a good wee group of people.
It's fantastic. They're the best. I mean... it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. I mean, they churn out an hour's worth of television every week, which is massive, and the quality very rarely dips. There's sometimes I watch it and I go, "This should be on network. This should be on the whole of Britain." I've got no idea why it's not. But it's a great place to work. And the best thing about working there was I got to work with people like Johnny Beattie and Una McLean, who played my mother, and Johnny Beattie worked with Laurel and Hardy. And Una McLean came through the 1950s Glasgow theatre circuit and everything, and they know the game, they know their craft. So you're learning off these people, you're learning off everybody you're working with. It's a great place.
What's the best project you've ever worked on? The best film, best anything, best actor as well?
The best actor I've ever worked with. Oh my God, I don't want to say it.
It's upset, Tom. Who's the worst then?
Oh man, I need to be careful. Do you know what? I loved working with Ford and Greg and Karen.
Still game?
Well, I would tune the fat really, and still game, because it's that they reinvented Scottish comedy. I think when they did that, it was you could see the influences where it came from. And the good thing about Ford and Greg is they stick with you. So it's the same makeup artists, it's the same crew that were there in 1998. It's like a little family. So anytime they do something now, they still get me in to do the music. So the two big Live at the Hydro shows, I did all the music for that. They didn't phone and get one of their Hollywood pals. They got me in. Not because I'm cheap, who knows. But they keep it as a family, and I love we work with them every 3 or 4 years, but I love when we get back together and do something. And now I'm not on screen with them or acting with them. I'm composing and writing music for them, so I'm still part of the. How come you're not in that game? I'm sort of
behind the scenes. It's because you're not on the telly. But again, you've got so many talents. Because again, there was people messaging us last night about you're a musician. You do singing. You play many instruments. Do you play?
I can get a tune out of most things, but I play piano as my main thing.
So where did all that come from?
It's a funny story, James. It's a long story.
That's all right. That's why we're here. When
I was a tiny wee boy, my first memory is music, and my first memory is my mum and dad had a Simon and Garfunkel tape, and I just played it all the time. And there was one when I started nursery school. The legend goes, and I've got a vague memory of this, the legend goes that the nursery phoned my mum and dad and went, "Can you come down? But don't let them know you're coming, just sneak in and watch from the door," because I'd sat down at a xylophone and started playing songs. I was playing The Entertainer. I was 4. So they went, he's musical, he's really musical. So their answer to that was to get me to play the violin, which was fucking brutal. And the lessons were on a Saturday morning when Swap Shop was on. I don't remember Swap Shop, but all my pals were out, and that. But I desperately wanted to play the piano, and I loved the Beatles as a kid as well. So in school, I would find a piano. I didn't have a piano at school. I would go and sit down and find a piano and just keep playing and playing. So I taught myself how to play the piano.
Could you play it, or were you just taught drink through memory?
Play
or
it.
just through...
Well, maybe unless I was a pianist in a previous life.
And it can happen.
Who knows? You know.
Did they say that can pass down for generation?
I don't know.
Ancestors or whatever.
But I was able to just play it, so nobody showed me. I just kind of listened, and so I always play by ear. I can't read music, so I'll play by ear.
Is that right?
Aye. So I can play the guitar a wee bit as well.
I'm glad you said you can play the guitar, because
I saw that.
We've never had this with any other guests. We've actually got a guitar, Steph. So
right,
because I know I've been so many messages that you can play tunes, you can play every instrument.
I can play bits and bobs. Aye.
Bits and pieces can you play for the what we requesting, lads? Steph?
Beatles.
Beatles? What is your favourite Beatles song? What about some guitar, something like Blackbird?
Aye.
No Blackbird?
That's got a Beatles tune.
Something like Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life you were only waiting for this moment to rise. It's been a while. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly into the light of a dull black night.
Yeah!
Hey! The Venga bus is coming and everybody's bumping New York to San Francisco.
Now we're talking. That's my kind of music. Thanks, mate. Outstanding. That was a sad song, because I was nearly fucking greeting there.
Oh, James, mate.
I was feeling emotional there.
You're alright.
That was powerful.
To cry away. What a man.
I can't. I greet myself. That was amazing. So all the instrument kind of stuff is kind of through, you think?
What, reincarnation?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I ended up, I was never very good at school. The only thing I was ever good at school was English and
music
and stuff. So when I was about 19, I had left school and I was in the Dole in Paisley, and I didn't, nobody knew what to do. My parents were kind of like, what we're going to do, and I went for a restart interview. Do you still get them Dole restart interviews?
No, it's all job seekers.
Job seekers, that kind of thing.
Universal credit.
And you know how sometimes you'll go in and sometimes you'll get Mrs. Can't Be Arsed, sometimes you'll get Mr. Nice, sometimes, and I got this guy when I went in, and I think I had an attitude when I went in. They went, what is your career, Mr. Urie? And I was like, I want to be a pop star. And normally the answer would be like that. Right, well, but this guy went, really? And I went, aye. And he went, what do you mean? And I went, oh well, this guy's taking me seriously. Well, I play piano and I sing sometimes, and I play guitar. I'd love to do something like that. And he went, well, actually, I've just had a leaflet through this morning from Perth College. They've started this rock music course. And I went, what? Rock music? An HND and rock music? I went, you got to be kidding me, Owen. What? So he gave me this leaflet, and I went home to my mum and dad and went, this thing. And you had to audition for it. So I went, well, so I phoned up and got an audition. And we went up to Perth, and I went in, and it was this. You ever seen the film Fame, James?
Aye.
It was kind
my sister used to watch it. I never, but it was alright.
I never watched it.
Sit with a t-shirt on.
Honestly, see the amount of taxi drivers, right? They go, oh, you're that guy out of River City, aren't you? I don't watch it. I don't watch that. She watches it. I don't watch it. When's Scarlett getting out of jail? So I went for an audition at this music college, and to my surprise, I got in, and it was so I had to move to Perth. I'd never been to Perth. I didn't know where Perth was, so they moved there. I was 19 years old, Oh my God, what a riot. Absolutely loved it. You got put into a band with other students. You wrote music. You got to work with sound engineers that were on another course. So you did writing, you did rehearse, and the exams were in a pub. You did a gig as the exam. And this, I was like that, I can't believe I've found that this is perfect. This is exactly what I want to do. So I went from failing all my exams at the school to after 2 years at this course, I won a trophy for coming top.
Amazing.
So I'm like, I can't, I've succeeded at something. So that kind of, once I left college, I moved down to Glasgow and thinking, well, I'll be a pop star. But that wasn't happening. But I got to do backing vocals with a lot of people, so I did a lot of session singing in the 90s. So there's a Run Rig album where I'm doing the backing vocals. And I worked with a singer called Horse. I don't know if you've ever heard of Horse. Check Horse out. Horse is incredible. And people like Carol Lola and who else did I work with? A songwriter called B.A. Robertson, who it's about, you're 10, James, aren't you? You're a wee boy. I'm just saying all these references.
I like that much about me. I don't know. Steph will know, he's in his 70s.
Is he? Do you remember B.A. Robertson? Do you remember B.A. Robertson? No, right. He wrote The 11 Years for Mike and the Mechanics.
Oh, great song.
Right.
Great song.
He wrote that, so I ended up working with him as well. So he got me in doing backing vocals. And the best, it's a quick story, right? The best thing about that was he was recording his own versions of songs he'd written for other people. So he'd written things like 11 Years for Mike and the Mechanics. He'd written a load of Cliff Richard songs and stuff like that. So he phoned me up, about 10 years ago, and said, can you come and do backing vocals on my album? I was like, aye, all right, aye. And he said, it's in London. I went, oh, okay. And he said, so I've got the studio booked for the 1st of March. And I went, that's my 40th birthday. I've got plans. I can't do it. And he went, oh, all right, okay, that's a shame. Well, do you know anybody else that could come down? And I went, well, I started thinking about a few folk. And I went, what studio is it? And he said, Abbey Road. Now, I'm a Beatles obsessive, right? And Abbey Road is where they recorded all their albums. So I dropped the phone, picked it back up again and went, right, look, never mind what I've got planned for my 40th. I'll come and do it, right? I'll come and do it. So we fly down on the Saturday morning. It's my birthday. There's 3 other people with me, 3 other singers with me. And I get picked up at the airport and I'm driven to Abbey Road. And now, I was so obsessed with the Beatles that when George Harrison died, I went down to London and sat outside Abbey Road studios with loads of people with guitars singing While My Guitar Gently. It was greeting. Do you know what I mean? I'm really, really a mad Beatles fan. And so I got down there and I'd always looked at this door to this studio and imagined what it must be like on the other side of this door. That's where all that magic music that I was obsessed with as a kid and I still love. That's in that door is where all that was made. So to go through that door was incredible. So we went in, right, and the other singers that were with me were all kind of like finding me amusing, the fact that I was getting so excited about this. So I went in and I went, they said, can you sit in reception, somebody will come and get you. And so I wandered off on my own and I started wandering down the corridors and there was pictures of the Beatles albums all down. Started greeting James, right? Started like, can't believe I'm in here, oh my God. And this wee old guy came out and he saw me greeting, he went, are you all right? And I went, there's the Beatles. And John must have stood there. And oh my God. And he went, come with me. So he led me into this room and it was a wee control room and went through a door and there was stairs down into Abbey Road Studio 2, which is where the Beatles basically lived. And he said, this is where they recorded everything. And he said, it's not changed since the 60s. It's all the same pianos, all the same instruments. Come and have a look. So he took me round and showed me all the pianos. I got to play the piano from Obladi Oblada. So then everybody else arrived in, and that's the studio we were recording in on my 40th birthday. So we did all the work, and then it got to tea time, and they said, we're all going out for some tea. And B.A. Robertson said to me, do you want to just stay in here on your own and play the piano? And I'm like, aye, I do.
That's amazing.
So they went away to the canteen for some tea and left me in this room with Paul McCartney's grand piano, and I sat and I sung Let It Be and Hey Jude and all that stuff. Tears rolling down my face going, I can't imagine a better birthday present than to do this.
That's a great 40th party, isn't it?
Just absolutely incredible.
What do you think the best Beatles song, if you were to pick one, stands out for you?
Oh man, the best Beatles song.
Let It Be is a good one, but
it is a stotter. But my favourite Beatles song, I think, is probably something like, it's probably a George Harrison song. It's probably something like Here Comes the Sun.
Probably. What about yours, Steph? Aye.
Oh, aye, but
I go again.
Get into trouble for.
Steph's in a band, by the way. He loves his music.
Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Can you sing, James? Oh. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. So no, but I mean, you ask me tomorrow, I'll have a different favourite Beatles song.
Yeah, some chanter, Tom. I'll give you that. It's funny, but as well, the people who write the songs don't get the recognition as well. Because I was speaking to a woman, Anne, last week, who was saying a man from Coatbridge or Hamilton wrote Angels for Robbie Williams. Aye. Saying the guy never get the recognition.
Is that maybe a guy in a pub?
No. He wrote the song for Robbie Williams, Angels.
Was it not Guy Chambers that wrote that?
No.
Alright.
No. So there you go.
Allegedly, James.
No, that's a good source.
Alright.
Was that true? Aye, so a guy from Coatbridge, Hamilton, wrote the song Angels and it totally transformed their lives. That guy's still... He get paid for it, but not obviously as much as...
Right. You better say allegedly after that, mate.
Allegedly.
Aye.
Allegedly.
Aye.
No, aye. Who's got credit for it?
Guy Chambers and Robbie Williams.
No, allegedly. There's,
I'm not saying that, folks.
Tom Urie, you heard it first. We'll edit that out so he says it. No, that's brilliant. But I also seen, because I knew you were coming on, I wanted to get into your musical stuff, and I seen you on stage. So 6,000 people, you were saying Glasgow Green. How was that? Was that opera?
It was opera, right? So, I had, I've lost a wee bit of weight.
Yes, 20 stones.
19 for argument's sake, right? I had, when I was at my heaviest, I couldn't do anything, right? All I could do was phone pizzas and play Candy Crush Saga. That was it. That was me, stuck. So when I lost all this weight, I started discovering things that I hadn't done since I was a teenager. Things like go for a big walk, or get out of my chair without crapping myself, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, I'm going to make a list of 10 things that were impossible for me that are now possible, and I'm going to do them no matter how mental they seem. So I had get a tennis lesson, because when I was in River City, they did a comic relief tennis match, and Judy Murray came out to teach everybody tennis, and I couldn't join in because it was too big. So I sat watching. I think I was the honorary ball boy or something. So I wanted to do that again. I wanted to get a proper tennis lesson. So I did. And Judy Murray came and gave me a tennis lesson.
Amazing.
At the Western Tennis Club, and so that felt brilliant. Another thing was cycle around Millport. So I went and did that with John Beattie, the DJ from Radio Scotland. Another thing was I wanted to do a fashion shoot for the paper, because I had so many insecurities about clothes and about the way I looked and all that kind of stuff. I was petrified about it. So I wanted to do things that scared me. So rather than say I want to go in and buy a pair of jeans that fit me, I said I want to go in and buy a pair of jeans that fit me, but I want to be in the paper wearing them, going, look, I can fit in a pair of jeans. So I did a fashion spread for the Daily Record, and I kind of thought they would do a kind of James Bond tux kind of hey yo thing, but they made me fun dad at the beach, a beach ball and pink shorts. Right, all right. But what a hoot. So I got a personal shopper, took me around Braehead and chose things for this. So I did that. Another thing was, what else was that? A skiing lesson. It was me and Jonathan Watson went and skied at the dry ski slopes at Bearsden, which I did for about half an hour, and then went, right, well, skiing's no for me, but I've done it. And another thing was I wanted to go fit in a plane seat, because I couldn't fit in an aeroplane seat. The last time I'd flown was in 2010, and I went to Canada, and everybody else in the plane was hating me, obviously, because I was the big fat guy in the plane. And I couldn't fit in the seat, and I had to go for a slash at one point, and I thought I was never going to get back out the toilet, because I filled every cubic inch of this aeroplane toilet. So 2 weeks ago I did that. I fitted in a plane seat, and I put the seatbelt on without having to ask for the extension, because you very subtly ask a stewardess, can I get a seatbelt extension, because I'm quite fat. And they go, okay, and then they come back walking down the aisle with it like that, bright orange seatbelt extension. Who is it that wanted it? You know, and the whole crew are going, this one. Yeah. So I got in, sat down, fastened the seatbelt and went, oh my God, that's incredible, that's incredible. And so another thing was stand and sing, because I couldn't stand up and sing at the same time when I was at my heaviest. I was always behind a piano. If I stood up, I could only stand for about 30, 40 seconds before my back was in agony and before I couldn't breathe and have to sit back down again. So when I was singing, I also had 2 inhalers on the piano, had the brown one and the blue one. Just couldn't breathe. So I'd be singing, I'd sing a line of a song, gasp in between the lines. So I want to stand in front of a band and sing. So I thought maybe a school orchestra or something, you know. But I had said, I'd put all this on Facebook, as you know, I spill my whole life on Facebook, I'm never off it. And Radio Scotland phoned up and went, would you want to come and do this bucket list on the Kay Adams programme and we can help organise things? I went, right, okay. So well, this singing with the orchestra thing, how do you feel about doing BBC Proms in the Park with the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra? And I went, aye, all right, okay. They went, we'd like you to sing Nessun Dorma. And I went, Pavarotti's Nessun Dorma. And they went, and I went, I can't sing opera, what are you talking about? Opera's a completely different thing from any other kind of singing. You go into training for years. I've never even really listened to any opera. So I went, I can't do that. I just look like an arsehole. They went, look, we'll get you some coaching, we'll get you 4 weeks of lessons and we'll do you a crash course. Surely you can do one song. So I thought, fuck it, okay, right, I'll do it. So I went and get opera training from this wonderful opera teacher called Anna, and it was so hard, it was so difficult, because it's almost like learning to breathe differently and learning to stand differently. So instead of going you have to go you know. So it's and that's from a different part from what you would normally sing. So, and also it was in Italian. So which I can't speak Italian, so I was like, I just listened to it and I was hearing all these incredible versions of this song and going, I can't even begin to think about doing this. It's going, and then I found out it was going to be on the telly, and I went, right, well, this is going to be one of these YouTube things. It'll go viral for being the worst version of Nessun Dorma, because I thought about that last note of it, right? And I thought, I'll go vincerò, and it'll be like, oh, check this idiot out. So I've never had a suit really. I've you know, and they went, oh, you need to get a tux and everything. And I was spending a lot of money, right? So my pal Janie Godley, who's a comedian, went, right, I'll buy you a suit. I'm going to buy you a suit. Oh, right, okay. So she took me to Slater's. It was hysterical. It was like going shopping with my ma. And eventually got this really, really smart, swanky suit, patent leather shoes. And so I got all ready to go and do this. And it was in front of, I think it was 6,000 or 7,000 people at Glasgow Green. And Jason Manford was in the bill, and Claire Teal, and all these like proper people. And I just felt like a total tumshade, you know what I mean? I was just like, oh. And it came to it, and I absolutely whited it at the end, because I had, I got through it. I got through the song, and it's all right. If you watch it back, it's all right. It's not. It's good. It's brilliant. It's not an opera singer, though. I'm singing it in my own voice, right? But it gets to the end, and you can see if you watch for it, right? It's online somewhere. I sing the last note, and I've hit the last note, and I went, oh, thank God. I hit it. Right, I'm all right. So then I just felt this, what I can only describe as a whitey, right? I just went, oh man. And I was just like, they were clapping and everything. I went, right. So you can see me trying to walk off stage like that. I just turned into Rubber Man. What to say, I collapsed into my pal Jackie's arms and went, oh my God, I'm never doing that again. It's like bungee jumping.
Check that's just all the nerves building up through the weeks.
Aye, but also you're putting you're standing there in front of people, and folk were like, folk were wanting me to do well, but they were like, that is this clown after River City thinking he can,
judging.
And one of my things that's helped me with all this life changing stuff is taking people's negativity and trying to turn it into and use it.
But listen to the way you're speaking, that's where the law of attraction will come into play as well. All the goal sets you've done, man, you've got to take a massive achievement for that, Tom, because that is ticking every box and you've set your mind to it, and that takes massive fucking strength what you've done, man. So for anybody watching who are in a struggle, this is prime example that you can set goals, that you can change your life. And what was the catalyst for you to change? What were you at your heaviest, first of all, Tom?
I don't ever say.
No, we never know.
Because
does it matter?
There's reasons.
Right.
Reasons, right? Every time you see somebody on TV that's obese,
right,
it's treated like a joke. Okay, so they always make them stand in their pants on a scale, say what weight they are, and if they go for a walk, there's a tuba playing in the background. And it's always used to shame the fat person. Right? This is you're a bad person for being this size. You're bad. What I realised through all this was, that was a result of my head being fucked. Right. So nobody would choose to be that size. Is my philosophy. Nobody would choose to end up stuck there. What's going on? What's going on in my head to make this happen? I made the decision not to say what weight I was to anybody, and I still don't. I say what I've lost because that's almost like a positive direction to be talking about. So,
instead of the negatives.
So you can do the sums and figure out roughly what I was, but and eventually one day I might say, but I don't want to.
No, 100%. It's working for you.
But what I realised that I suffered from depression and anxiety, and this is a hot topic at the moment because people have started to talk about this, and it's vital people talk about it.
Because at the moment, there's 75% of suicides in the UK are male.
Right.
75% is the number one killer in the UK, but it isn't as spoke about as the way we should be speaking about it. Because again, I've spoken about it many in this show. As men, we don't speak about our feelings and emotions. We suppress them all, and that's where all the addictions came from. So we spoke about it earlier. I battled with obviously drugs, gambling, all the bullshit, because we suppress it. So that is the number one killer. But for you to change your life,
well, no, absolutely. But what I had to realise, and because I'm a recovering alcoholic, recovered alcoholic, whatever you want to say. But I've not had a drink for nearly 17 years.
Well done, man. That's amazing.
So there's a pattern of addictive behaviour with me. So. It's almost like the alcohol addiction was transferred over to food. So I wasn't just eating a pizza because I was a greedy bastard. I was a greedy bastard, but it was
a replacement.
It was an addiction almost. It was filling the pain. It was filling the black hole. And the only way I could stop feeling utterly distressed was to shove stuff in my mouth. So when I started figuring out that I was suffering from depression and anxiety, which 10 years ago, James, people were still going, well, that just means you're a nutter. You know, I don't want to admit that I'm a nutter, you know. And my doctor had said to me, would you consider going on antidepressants? And I was like, no, because I'll be a zombie. I didn't understand what antidepressants were. Okay, I do now. So it was almost like as soon as I started realising that I had a problem up here, and a problem where I never attempted suicide, and I never even considered it, but I had suicidal thoughts. Okay, and that's the thing that scared the living shites out of me, because it's almost like an electrical spark comes in, and for a fleeting second you go, everyone would be happier and the world would be a nicer place if I wasn't here. And it's a reality for you. You feel that, you think 100% that that's true. So when that thought comes in, I was well enough, I think, to be scared by that, and to start talking about it and going, holy shit, this thought has jumped into my mind. That's terrifying me more than anything. But even just a fleeting glimpse of what that is made me kind of slightly understand why somebody would go and do that. And it's not a depression. The more people are talking about it, James, the more people are learning about it, and that's what I think is important. So depression, I always thought, was just somebody being sad, and it's not. It's actually an inability to see any good, you know. And so you could be sitting, the way to try and describe depression to somebody that's never suffered it, you could be sitting there like this, right, and then before you know it, it's Thursday, and you've been sitting since Monday, haven't done it, haven't opened the door. There was one time I hadn't unlocked my storm doors from one Saturday to the next Saturday. I realised, and anxiety is just, you just want to get off the planet. Sometimes with anxiety, it's a physical thing that can just punch you in the stomach. When depression and anxiety collide, you're fucked.
Aye.
You're fucked, So if depression and anxiety collide and there's a suicidal spark comes in at that point, holy shit. So what I was trying to figure out last week with the Scott Hutchison stuff, right, which everybody, I don't know anybody that wasn't wrenched by that, just it's, how do you spot it with somebody? If you've got a friend that is starting on that journey, how do you spot it? Are there signs? When do you take somebody seriously, and when do you, I don't know.
It's such a touchy subject.
I don't know.
To get people, I think people can hide it for so long, and I think it's not just, I would say there's a high percentage of people are in pain. We're all in fucking misery. We've all got battling some sort of demons. I think it should be getting taught it for maybe schools now, to be honest, to be open, to speak about your problems, because at the time you get a certain age, man, the numbers are dropping massively, and it's people you wouldn't expect of. Even like your Robin Williams, even the fact that the laughter and the jokes, that is a mask. It's a cover up to cover your pain. And I think as if the more you try and help other people, it's you that needs the help. And
it's the talking, I think, is helping, because people are now beginning. So what I'm saying about is, if somebody is feeling like that, how do you spot it? I think the way you spot it is by getting more experience of what that feeling is. So the more people you talk to about it, especially guys, if guys, especially West of Scotland guys, that will not go to the doctor if their head's hanging off, you know what I mean? So I was trying to think of, is there some sort of almost like Ruby Wax has started this with the Frazzled Cafes, right? Meetings without an addiction. So not even a 12-step program, but meetings where people can go and talk. So once a week you could go and sit in a church hall or something, and you would just go around and share how you're feeling. And I don't know if that would work, but sharing one-to-one with people is really, really important. But if you're stuck in the house and your fortress walls are up, how do you reach out to somebody? And I don't think the mental health resources are there at the moment to be able to go and find an access point to get that help. I think it's there, but I don't think it's the demand. The supply isn't there for the demand.
And I think everything, I say it all the time, but everything is the mindset. It is how you perceive things. And I think I don't know if social media can come into play. A lot of people look at everybody else's life and think they've got a great life watching them shows.
Who's 100% real on social media?
Absolutely fucking nobody. Do you know what I mean? Everything's photoshopped. They've got a great life.
Managed.
Yes, but it's controlled. It's controlling the masses. I think it's like, I don't know how many people are on social media, 1 billion, 2 billion people. It's a lot of people, and everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses. They're trying to show that they've got this massive life. If you've got a great life, you don't really need to post about it all the time either. But it is kind of, we feel good about it. If you're putting a message across and we're doing the good fit, then that's good. But I think if you can, because the first hour you wake up in the morning is your hour you're most creative, and every morning as soon as I wake up, I'm right on the phone, I'm flicking through Instagram, I'm flicking through Twitter, I'm flicking through Facebook, and I'm thinking to myself, shit, I know I'm doing it, but I can't fucking stop. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if that's got a big play, because I think the record, I don't think the suicides have been so high ever. I think this is a massive height of the problem.
But it's because when it touches somebody's life. So Scott, everybody knew Scott's music, and felt ownership in Scotland of somebody like that. Even back to Billy Mackenzie and people like that, it feels like one of your own. So when you hear about somebody far off in Hollywood doing it, even Robin Williams, you hear about it, and it's one step removed. But when you hear about your brother's pal, or when you hear about a woman you knew, and you go, oh my God, I had no idea. I had no idea they were in this much pain. And I suppose one of the things is you do wear a mask, and you do as Tears of a Clown, you do pretend you're all right. And I did a lot of that. I did a lot of pretending I was fine when I clearly wasn't. Because
it is heartbreaking, and I think I think the more people become open, the more people become honest, and people go, even though they might not feel like talking, but they go, oh wait a minute, he's had that problem. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I think if people just keep you've got to become a better version of yourself. I'm constantly working on me. Just last week, 2 weeks ago, I went my first time to see a psychologist, Angela Trainer, who works in the Harvest Clinic. Give a wee shout out, Angela. And that was the first time because I'm in a good place, I'm doing good things, but I still feel as if there's rooted problems there. I don't want to that ever pop up and then I go back to the old James, because that old James is scary. I'm not getting any younger either. Do you know what I mean? So I want to keep in this path and I want to get everything out in the open and be honest. So when I'm talking on the podcast, because a lot of people listening now and a lot of people are messaging who maybe aren't in a good place and going, I didn't know you felt like that, I didn't know you had those problems. But I did, and everybody has got problems, and it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be upset, it's a human emotion, but don't fucking live there. You can get help, and I'm not a doctor and I'm not saying pharmaceutical drugs are away, but if you're suicidal, no drugs can help you come back a couple of steps to maybe stop you in a way. It does numb your pain in a kind of way, but if it can help you in that way, then great.
Well, no, I absolutely, but I do say that medication can help in certain cases, and it did help me. I got on antidepressants for a while and anti-anxiety medication, which I don't use anymore, but it's still in the bathroom cupboard just in case. The fact that I know it's there is alright. But it can pull you back from a desperate situation by changing the chemicals in your brain temporarily. So it's enough for you to be able to go, oh, right, how do I sort this? How do I sort this? But I think that the answer is, and what we've been talking about, the more people talk about this kind of stuff, the more the solutions will start to appear, I think, because people have a better understanding of depression and anxiety. Because 10 years ago, if you'd said, I'm off work with depression, people would go, get on with it, for goodness sake.
Man up.
Now people man up. People now go, fuck, how can I help? What's wrong? What caused it? Is there something that happened, or is it life circumstances, or is it maybe none of that? Is it maybe a thing? But
it's just the mindset. It's where you can. It's the way you perceive things. It is the way you look at things. I think a lot of people are looking at the things maybe they haven't got instead of the things they have got. As long as we've got Irma, as long as we've still got a life, and we've still. I think you need a why as well, where you need something to focus on. I think a lot of people are going to work, waking up in the morning and fucking hating life. They hate their job, they hate their environment. You're going into an office, you're working for £8 an hour. Everybody's hating life because deep inside that gut, they know they ain't striving towards. Is that what they're brought on this planet to be sitting there? And if you can enjoy it, then so be it. I'm not just saying that people working in an office is a bad job, but if you look at the environment they're in, they're stuck in that fucking small box. Everybody's nitpicking and moaning and hating each other. They're going to come back and you're drained because everything's energies, everything's kind of connected in a way. And I feel at my best. My big pal Barry Peacock is a personal trainer. We go up the mountains and we either run or we walk, and see every time we come back we feel connected again, we feel good, we feel away from all the like the Matrix kind of thing.
So you're using that, but sometimes to feel good. But a lot of times an easier way to feel good would be to drink a 2 litre bottle of juice, or a 2-for-1 pizza, or and smoke a joint, or have a pint, or any of that can take a pill, any of that kind of stuff to immediately make yourself feel good. So I think the answer of replacing the stuff that's killing you by stuff that gives you the same good feeling but is actually good for you is probably a good thing. Because
if you're eating good, Tom, you're also feeling good. If you're kind of eating, because what happens is when the body digests that, it sends chemicals to the brain, which is a feel good factor. And if I've said it and I fucking says it again, but if I go along Saracen Street in Poso, it is Chinese, it's chip shops, it's pizza shops, it's bookmakers, it's pubs. So how can you get out that environment? How can you change that mindset if you're living in that fucking misery? Because you're constantly eating shit and then you're drinking, we're constantly searching for that.
It's a cycle.
That empty void.
To break out
to break away from that, and then you go, right, wait a minute, that's a very small box. So for me, the natural things in life is try to eat good, try to speak good as well, because the way you speak is the way you feel. Because a man, for people to look up, I'm Dr. Emoto. You can do the jam jar.
I know all about it.
Two jam jars. So you can get 2 jam jars, fill each jam jar with rice. Say I love you to one for 30 days and I hate you to one for 30 days. So the one who says I hate you after 30 days is all black and blue and mouldy. The one who says I love you is still pure white. So the way you speak is the way you feel, because you listen to people, including me. I talk shit and speak like shit sometimes. So if you speak shit, you feel shit. And that's something I'm trying to be more aware of and speak more clear. How did you know Dr. Emoto?
I read the book.
The water book.
The water book.
Yeah.
Crystals.
Because I met his interpreter through. I did a Reiki course with Lorna McLean, And that's how I met her interpreter. They explain it. When they were explaining it at the start, I was like, it sounds a bit fucking crazy. And then we did it, and it worked.
Reiki as well. Yeah. Reiki 1 and 2.
Did you?
Who
with?
Oh god, years ago.
What was it?
Years ago. But I didn't do the masters. But I kind of got a little bit kind of with it because it became so kind of like Siobhan and the hairdressers would be saying, I can do perms, I can do streets, and I can do Reiki.
Aye.
There's the Reiki, and you're like that. It's becoming a bit odd and a bit kind of. So I kind of, but I mean, it's something I would look at.
Because you met my wee mom, Josie. Hello, hen.
All right, Josie. Hey! That's your mom.
I'm kidding. Is at the spiritual church.
Aye.
So how was that?
No, I love all sorts of hocus pocus. Right, I love all the spooky, medium-y stuff and everything. So for a while, I was getting addicted to going to the spiritualist church, which is mediums, you know. So I and that's where I met your wee ma, because she was going to it as well. So what a woman!
She's a great woman.
But I think there's something in it, but I don't know what. I think a lot of people are at it, but I do have a couple of pals who are mediums who I think are genuine and are doing stuff. But for every one, there's 100 that just go,
frauds.
Can you take a Margaret? Or you know, they'll say, can I come to you, sir? Have you got a great grandfather in spirit? And they go, how did you know they were dead? It's like,
Aye.
So I kind of love all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Who knows?
Never. I think if you lose people, like I say, you're kind of searching for that.
Yeah.
Are they fine? Are they okay? You're kind of looking for that wee product. But I think when somebody goes, you kind of get used to the pain. You kind of adapt it. You kind of adjust
it. You absorb it into your life. Like, when you lose a parent, it actually doesn't get less painful.
Yeah.
You just absorb it and you change the way you feel about it, and it's all right. But you don't fully. I don't want to sound like a downer, but you don't ever fully go, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You actually carry it with you for the rest of your life.
Of course. You know? How are you feeling now then with the weight loss and being off it? You're doing amazing. I don't you realise, do you realise how well you've done? Or do you kind of forget, you kind of get used to it?
I think in about 5 years' time, James, I'll look back on it and go, oh wow, but at the moment I still feel a bit mental.
It's fucking unbelievable, 20 stone. That is unbelievable.
Well, it's been so much of a short time that I actually sometimes feel a little bit stoned.
Right.
Because my neurological system still thinks I'm a big giant guy. So if I stand up, my head will keep moving. You know? Sometimes I'm walking down the street, I'll meander off to the side, and it's like, oh man, I just lost my balance there, because it's almost like getting on a new bike. It's almost like getting on a unicycle and learning how to cycle it. So I'm in this completely different body now, and it's learning to live in it. Learning who I am now as well, because it was quite easy when I was that size for work and stuff, because anytime there was a TV programme doing an obesity storyline, I was seen for it, I was auditioned for it, and it'd always be the same 5 fat actors from all around Britain. You go down to Holby City, right? And you go in, and the storyline was, this fat guy, right? You go in, you sit there, go into the waiting room, and it would be him from Nottingham and him from Liverpool, and they'd all right, how he's doing? Whose turn is it this time? The same 5. But now if I'm going up for a role, there's 20 other folk, all kind of dad guy, kind of 50, kind of. Oh man, I've kind of opened up the competition now, so I've not got that going for me anymore in that. But
you've weighted your audience. You can do better things. You can do more things. How's your walking? Everything healthy? Your breathing?
Walking's the best thing. I'll tell you exactly about that. What I didn't realise when I lost all this weight was that because my heart and lungs were working at 100% capacity for years, they're in really good shape now, because I get a lot of medical checkups and everything. I'm obsessed with it a little bit. So you're actually left with a heart and lungs that are as fit as the likes of Mo Farah, because they've trained. So I can now walk for miles. So I'm going to do the West Highland Way as my next thing.
Brilliant.
And that is a direct response to the fact that I couldn't walk before. So I could walk for about 15 seconds before I had to stop before at my worst. So when I was in River City, I had to actually get from the dressing room to the main set was about probably a 2 or 3 minute walk, I had to drive. So I was the only one that took my car onto the set. And I used to drive around. I used to, everybody was lovely, but I used to see their faces. I used to see them going, so he needs to do something. He needs to get help. He needs to do something because this is ridiculous. So as a response to that, I want to do the West Highland Way, which is walk 100 miles over mountains.
That's amazing.
I know, just to prove to myself and also to people that were worried about me that I can do it now. It's all right now. I mean, but I haven't. That's one of the last items on my bucket list is to go and do that. And people keep saying they want to do it with me, but I'm too crabbit, James. I'm too crabbit. They would hate me. But I can walk for miles now, and it's an absolute joy because I couldn't do it for so long. So it's kind of like getting the keys to Disneyland. Yeah. So I'll maybe, once we finish here today, I'll maybe just wander off and see where the days follow the sun.
Not only you're doing this for yourself, but other people are watching, Tom, who aren't a rat, who maybe have battling drink or obesity, because it's a major problem as well. It's on the rise. And
the thing with obesity, James, is that, see, when you're that size and when you're trapped, because it is trapped, no matter how you think somebody's got to that point, there are reasons. I'm not saying that everybody who is obese shouldn't take responsibility for where they've been or what they've eaten or their inability to exercise. But everybody's story is different. But when you're that size, you don't have a voice because you just think everybody's going to think you're stupid or moaning or a lot of the times I didn't have a voice because I couldn't get my breath as well. So what I'm seeing now is I get loads of messages through Facebook and through Twitter and through all that kind of stuff from people who are where I was, and I've got an understanding of how they feel and what they're going through. So I'll spend maybe half an hour every night answering all these things and talking to people, and I've made loads of pals with people that are stuck in the house or don't see any way out. And if it only takes me half an hour my day to just sit and yip to people and say,
gives them hope.
It's possible. Aye.
I think it's amazing what you've done, mate. And sorry before we go, but see, when you were overweight, did you feel people, were you concentrating on other people, how they're perceiving you? Or?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
You don't need to, because like I say, you've done amazing things. And another thing with the goal setting, that you're writing down and visualising what you want to do, and every one you've achieved through the weight loss, through singing in an opera, through what other ones we...
Well, but what I'm doing is I'm setting these goals, but I'm setting achievable small-term goals.
Yeah, realistic.
I'm not going to say, all right, well, I'm going to go and abseil down the Empire State Building. I'm not saying things that I think are mental. I'm saying things that I can see a direct path to. Yeah. So things like cycling around Millport, I know that I could organise that and go and do it, which I did, right? But when I was in the state I was, that was impossible because there's nowhere I got on a bike. There's nowhere I had the energy. I wouldn't have been able to walk to get there. Everybody would have been laughing at me, look at that elephant on a bike, that kind of stuff. So I set myself goals that aren't mental. So I set myself, the West Highland Way seems a little bit mental, but I know that
you can do it. You've lost 20 stone, you can do it.
I know. So the other thing is that I'm going to walk across the Sahara next year.
Right.
But I researched how to do it, and I researched what it involves, and it's achievable. And I'm going to do it for a charity, and it's all taken care of, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm setting myself achievable goals. So if you're 20 stone heavier than me at the moment, set yourself an achievable goal.
Stone.
Like walk down and back up the stairs, and that's a massive achievable goal.
Did you read anything, Tom? Was it any books or that you read that changed your mindset and changed, right, I'm going to do this, and set your mind to say, fuck it, I'm doing it, and you've done it? Because a lot of people love the 40 change, but as soon as they do it, 2-3 days they're back to old habits because it's too fucking hard.
Do you know, not really, James. I read a lot. I read all the same stuff you do, you know, and I read a lot of that, and all of it helps. But I think it was talking to people and figuring it out, and just, you know, I thought, what was I mean, I'm 49 now, right? And I thought, well, if I stay like this, that's me. I've got a couple of years maybe. Whereas now I'm like that. Well, I could conceivably live as long as
exactly as long as you choose.
So I've, you know, so it just came to the point where I was like, what am I going to do? And I mean, I got surgery. I got a gastric bypass, so that was the catalyst for doing it as well. And that's important to take the stigma from that as well, because a couple of people have said to me, "You look amazing. How did you do it?" And I say, "Well, I got a gastric bypass," and they go, "That's cheating," and I go,
Saved your life.
It's not a game. It's not a game, right? You see how desperate I was. A simple thing, and it's not a magic wand that can help, right? So that probably helped get me out of the terrifying place I was in, but the rest of it is exercise and mindset and change and health and all that kind of stuff. So I you know, everybody's got a different journey they take. Everybody's got a different path and a different solution, but there's no situation you can be in where there's no hope, I don't think. And I think discussion about obesity without a tuba playing in the background, you know, just listen to.
There's always hope. There's always hope. There's always belief, and Tom's a prime example. And you've got a great story, mate. And what you've achieved so far, I think, is unbelievable. And I wish you all the best for the future, man.
Thanks, James.
And really, thanks for coming on today, mate. I really appreciate it, man.
Cheers, pal.
It's been a great podcast. Really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Boom.
All right.